Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. At Building HVAC Science, in our podcast, we're trying to help create better, more knowledgeable HVAC and building performance technicians by helping the two professions better understand each other with the ultimate goal of making customers happy in the homes they live in and the buildings they work in. In today's complex world where everything's mobile, come across a training organization called Skillcat that is totally mobile. They offer 1,500 hours of training in HVAC, plumbing, appliance, and electrical repair work, and they've trained over 300,000 people to date. I won't get too much more into the details, but those are some of the high points. I interview Ruchir Shah, who shares the challenges of building this application, this product over the last 3 or 4 years, and find out about his journey into the trades sector. And he highlights how interconnected the HVAC industry is. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm hoping you feel that way too. If not, we'll continue to work on it. In any case, here's Ruchir Shah talking about unlocking the trades, the power of Skillcat's mobile training. Good morning, listeners of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. This is your host, Bill Spohn, operating solo, flying without a co-pilot. Eric Kaiser is not available today, but I have a good growing friend of mine, Ruchir Shah, who has a company called Skillcat. Good morning, Ruchir. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing great. Excited to be here.
Great. So some of the listeners may have heard of Skillcat, but I think all of them should. So why don't we start out there with what is Skillcat, and then we'll get a little bit about your background and how things all connected and got you here.
Skillcat is a training platform for the skilled trades. We're a mobile app. We have about 1,500 hours of training, virtual simulation-based training on HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and appliance repair, and a whole bunch of certifications to get you into the trades. Everything from EPA 608 certification, NATE training, OSHA, and also a certified trade school to break into the trades. And we've trained about 300,000 people, but we're also just getting started. We're just a couple of years old and just really excited to dramatically bring down the barriers to bring more people into the skilled trades, into the HVAC industry.
300,000 people. That is amazing. Also, just the construct of things. I got to say that first. 1,500 hours of training. That is impressive to put together and collect. Congratulations. And then to cover all those important areas and helping people do it where they're at through the mobile app. I'm sure that's very important. It's a different way of delivering training. So 300,000 people, you must have been in business now for 10, 12 years?
No, it's only been about 3 years, a little over 3 years. I mean, our secret is initially we were free. So our initial business model was, hey, training is completely free for people, and then companies will pay us to hire through the platform. And so we just became really popular because we're offering all of this incredible training at low cost and really conveniently online. And now we charge, but we're still, for users, we're still $10 a month. That's helped us really, people spread the word and share a lot. And we've just built a brand for ourselves in the industry by keeping costs low while providing really great training.
Skillcat has a cool name to it, cool ring to it. Where did you come up with the name?
Nothing scientific. I was brainstorming with a friend and I was thinking like something around skills and skill kit. And then my friend made a picture of a cat wearing a hard hat. And then skillcat.com was available. So we were like, let's do it. And it's catchy. It has a nice ring to it. So it's stuck.
Nice. Share with us a little bit about your background and what led you to starting Skillcat.
So I studied engineering in college and I did policy research on the BP oil spill. And training was one of the biggest issues that caused that spill. So I actually built out a company out of college, building online courses and simulations to train oil and gas workers. So I ran that for a while, for 4 years, and then I went to business school. When I came out of school, it was COVID and everyone was getting laid off in oil and gas. And so you had people who were making these incredible salaries, really, really smart, hardworking people going from 6 figures a year to working at a grocery store because they didn't know what other industries could use mechanical skills, could use electrical skills, could use working with motors. And so really built out Skillcat through that of, hey, how do you help folks reskill for other industries when they can't necessarily afford leaving the workplace for 2 years to go to a trade school and they don't have a bunch of additional income to pay for different sources. So that was really the founding story is, hey, how do you dramatically make this more accessible for people who are trying to reskill and help solve this massive worker shortage in the skill trades? That's the story. It's a unconventional background. I've never worked in the trades myself, but I've actually been around educating folks in the trades my entire career.
And we first met in person, is it 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
I think ACA conference.
Yeah, it was in Baltimore.
Yeah. I was on my own. You were on your own. I was like,
I was sipping coffee, eating a bagel or something. This guy walks up.
yeah.
Very cool. Glad you did that. Glad I got a chance to know and learn more about you.
No, it was great. I was like, what, an e-commerce platform for tools? This is awesome. You're somebody I should be talking to. So moving the industry forward. So
thank you. That's what we try to do. So doing what you're doing must have attracted attention and interest. Can you talk a little bit about how that has gone? Maybe positive and not so positive aspects.
First of all, on Reddit, people talk about us all the time. Until this month, we have not spent a single dollar on marketing. So all of our growth has been word of mouth. We rank well because we put excerpts from our courses up online for people to view. So people find out about us through Google, and then everyone shares about us to other people. There's been a lot of interesting perspectives on that from folks in the industry, but I think Reddit for me is the coolest place because you get really positive people, and then you also get brutally honest people. Yeah, I think Reddit is where you get a lot of honesty. And so for us, it's been really valuable because when you get that opportunity to really hear directly from your users exactly what they think. And so we've taken a lot of that feedback from Reddit over the last few years, and we brought all of that into our product. So if someone complains about how something is set up or structured, all of that comes through Reddit, and we bring that into our platform. We've been able to bring like our ratings. We have almost 4,000 ratings on the App and Play Store, 4.9 stars on the App Store, 5 stars. So it rounds up on the Play Store and we started with like 2 stars on the Play Store. And we've been able to gradually improve our product with all of this feedback and make it better and better and better. So you can say a lot of things about skilled tradespeople, but they're definitely brutally honest. They tell you, you know where they stand. There's no airs. People aren't like, people are direct and honest. And that's something I actually love about the trades is you actually, as a company working with folks in the trades, you know where you stand. You're going to get an honest opinion from pretty much everyone.
I'll make sure that we have links to both of the app stores, and the skillcatapp.com is where you would pivot from a web browser.
Yeah, Skillcat app or skillcat.com. We bought Skillcat later because it was like $5,000. We're like, we'll wait till we make a little money and then we'll buy it.
Can you work with it from a browser?
Yeah, so there's a web version. The reason I talk about the app so much is what we found. We started just on it as a web version where you can go through all the courses and training. But you just see like most folks in the trades are out and about all day. That's why a podcast is so powerful. You're in the field, you're driving, you're not at a computer for most of your day. And so that's where I think there's some really incredible trading experiences you can build with something like VR or even on a big computer screen. But most folks are just in and out of the field. And so most people use our mobile app and just make it as accessible and convenient as possible to go through training.
Okay. So let's go back to the 1,500 hours. I guess I'm impressed with numbers. I'm a numbers guy. So
yeah.
The 1,500 hours, how were you able to build that content? And then secondarily, vet the content for quality?
About 500 or so hours of that is stuff we built ourselves, right? And so that content, we have this really incredible team in-house of instructional designers with exceptional at teaching, animators, graphic designers, and then engineers with experience in the trades. So folks who have a strong mechanical, electrical engineering background. And then we couple that with a really exceptional team of subject matter experts. So people who've been an HVAC technician, a plumber, an electrician for years, and who come in and review everything and give us their feedback and ideas. And so together, we've been able to scale content production and just build so much incredible content on the platform. Outside of that 500 hours, we've done two pretty key partnerships recently. So one is with Chris Compton at hvacredu.net. And they have a really incredible platform that's a lot of really great content they've made, but it's primarily web-based. And so we took all of their content and we put it into our app in a mobile version for that next generation of learners. Then we've also done a similar type of partnership with Nexstar Network, and they have a big Next Tech program where we've taken their content and we're the only provider that's taken all of their content and put it on our app for use in a more friendly mobile interface as well. Through those 3 partnerships, we've been able to build a lot of content, and now we're Looking ahead, we're building more and more new certifications and content every day. And so the goal is just to have content that supports you throughout, all the way from when you join the industry as like a brand new HVAC tech, or all the way through to being a journeyman. And then constant ongoing content that guides you as things change. We want to be your companion as technology, electrification, all of these things affect the day-to-day life of a trades worker.
And that $10 a month is your model now per person, per seat, per login. Is that access to one track, like the HVAC track? Or
No, all you can eat. So $10 a month gives you access to everything. There's some additional, you can pay a little bit extra for some of that HVACR, EDU content, or some of that partner content, but it gets you access to everything, EPA certification, all of the above. And then for companies who have larger workforces, they want to send people through more training. We have a $30 to $50 a month plan that gives you a lot more access to a dashboard to manage your technicians. We also let you have a full apprenticeship program through the app, where if you're in the field, you can go through our training, but you can also take pictures and videos of things you do in the field and upload that evidence to the app. And so as a manager, you can monitor how your technicians are learning, not just through online courses, but also in the field and on the job training, and document that growth and progress, like Boy Scouts or something, where you get these badges as you're actually doing things in the field.
so there's an aspect of the individual, and then there's the aspect of the company. You mentioned the company dashboard. What would a company service manager see on the dashboard?
So you get to see, you can assign training, like any courses or learning plans that you want your folks to go through. You can also monitor progress. So you can see grades and scores, see how different people have been doing in different areas. Are they reporting in areas that people are struggling? And you can see those submissions for things people do in the field that they may have want to demonstrate competency in, and review those to monitor their progress. Or enhancing ride-alongs with a way to also support folks by digitally monitoring their progress.
I've noticed the interface is very clean, not stark, but clean. There's not much of a question about what you should or we could do next. So congratulations on that, because that's a hard thing to achieve.
Thank you.
And it's not like overly glitzy, but I think it's very effective. Did you arrive at that through iteration, or is that just your vision? Who's the theme master here?
No, I think our team is really good at thinking about product. We definitely didn't start this way. From day one, again, this is where you get from 2 stars to 5 stars. Average rating on the Play Store is you talk to users, you get feedback. I think we were very inspired by apps like Duolingo that have done really effective training for language learning. Hey, what if you make training for the trades just as easy and simple? And then when you train so many people, you'll get calls from someone in their 70s, there are people in their 80s, 11:30 p.m. Hey, this app isn't working. You have to make it really easy to use if you want to keep your sanity as an app developer while supporting so many people. Over time, it's like, we got a lot of complaints about this. Let's make that simpler. Let's make that simpler. Let's make this easier. And so it's still a work in progress, right? We're constantly trying to make the app easier and easier for folks to use.
When we talked about this first, I'm not sure if you're still on the same path, but that evidence base, you talked about like a resume builder or a LinkedIn for the trades. Is that still part of your construct?
So our original model was that, hey, companies pay us to hire. We don't officially, that's no longer how we make money, but we still have a lot of company partners that we work with. And we're always talking about how we can support folks on our platform get jobs. I would stay tuned on that front. We're testing out a couple of things to bring that back. Like, we're doing some partnerships, conversations with Indeed to bring Indeed jobs onto the platform. We're also talking to platforms like Thumbtack and some of these gig economy platforms if folks want side gigs through the platform. And so a lot of different ways we're still trying to support our users and for jobs as well. But we're not actively ourselves that involved there anymore. It's more, how do we support folks on doing the job? How do you train you to get the job, get the certifications, understand how to do things as well as possible?
Can you talk about the toughest problem you've had to solve in the last few years?
So to be honest, our toughest problem was making money. So we started with this idea, and this was this like light bulb, or just this idea that, hey, we're going to try to make training free for everyone. And so one of the toughest decisions for me was deciding about a year ago that, hey, we can no longer keep this free for everyone. And just financially, like, we're not able to find recruiting or some other way to make this work. You have to start charging people. And that was a really tough decision about a year ago. I actually wrote a long letter to our users about it. That letter got posted on Reddit. But we were actually fortunate that a lot of people actually supported us and with that decision. And now we're making money. We're doing really well. We've grown a crazy amount in the last year. But that was really tough. It was like, hey, how do you navigate this? We've been free from the beginning. That's been like our mission. But I think at $10 a month, we're still dramatically reducing the cost of education for people. And even if that cost goes up somewhat over time, one of our mottos is, hey, we're a company that strives to keep prices low for our users. And that's something we always want to do.
Is there a way within the app to give feedback about what people are seeing or things they'd like to see?
So there's a feedback form every course. We also have a support line. People call in and share feedback all the time. There's also pop-ups that come up at different actions in the app that ask you what you thought and feedback. So we try as much as possible to get feedback. But people who are unhappy aren't particularly shy about sharing their feedback. So
Very good. So it's 15 hours of material media. What's the typical time it takes someone to go through? It probably varies, but do you have like an average time for someone to complete a course?
it varies. So we try to keep each topic and module as short as possible, like 5-10 minutes. So that when you're in the field or you get a few minutes here and there, like everyone's attention span is low these days in general because you have so much, everyone's busy, everyone has so much going on. So like micro learning where you have really small chunks where you can go through and then that builds its way up into a course. And you have like courses like the EPA 608 that are longer, like 20-30 hours, and then short 1 hour courses as well. So it really varies. But for us, things that are smaller and shorter work better for folks in the field.
Speaking of the EPA 608, can you walk me through, because that should be for our listeners and a lot of people out there, something of interest if they don't have it or if they have a colleague that needs it. How does that work?
So we're really proud of our EPA 608 survey. I think we have the best experience that the industry has ever seen for EPA 608. So you go to our app, you have a full online course. You have a 97, 98% pass rate if you actually go through all the material. It's very thorough. And then we're actually directly accredited through the EPA for the EPA exam. So unlike every other EPA provider out there that requires a proctor where you schedule proctoring and you go through a proctored session, especially for EPA 608 Universal, we've gotten a special method approved through the EPA for asynchronous proctoring, where you can go through the exam anytime. You take it, if your phone will take a picture or video of your face and your screen as you're going through and make sure there's no cheating. And you can't leave the app. You get any phone calls, anything like that happens, your attempt is rejected. You got to be fully focused. So there's no scheduling required. And you can take it multiple times. We used to offer unlimited attempts. The EPA came in and said, don't do that. So we offer 4 attempts. If you go through our entire course and you still don't pass it, we're authorized to give you as many attempts as you'd like, and we don't charge you anything for that. But it's really hard if you actually go through our course and all the questions and all the testing and the entire course. It's very, very hard to fail. I think it's pretty much never happens.
So you get to monitor. Do you look at statistics about usage for product improvement and other reasons? Do you have anonymous statistics, I'm sure?
Absolutely. Like just in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, we analyze all the data in the world. So absolutely. But for us, we found there's value in data, but there's also a lot of value in just talking to users. It's hard sometimes. You can look at data that shows people are like, they seem frustrated on certain screens, but until you really so like for us, we call all of our users, we talk to them a lot, and then we have a really active panel of users who are, we call like our ambassadors, who will give us feedback and like thoughts and like review new courses when we launch them and all of that. And I think a lot of that concept was started by Jennifer Manzo. She was one of our first users on the platform, and I gave her a call out of the blue. She had used the app, gotten into the industry through it, and was super supportive. And using that model, we found a bunch of other folks like her who are just excited about what we're doing and are excited about engaging and supporting us. And she's been an incredible resource for the entire team. And ultimately, I'm not actually working as an HVAC tech day in and day out. So our team it's a combination where we have half of our team are these software and product people, and then the other half is folks who actually work in the field and have that expertise. And we try to marry those worlds together every day.
Being a mobile app and being on the 2 most popular mobile platforms in the world, do you have international activities?
We do. It's starting. So vast majority of our users are US, but we put the app out there everywhere. And so once in a while, we'll get people from like Saudi Arabia. We're like, can you please mail me my EPA card? And it's like, uh, why? First of all, and second of all, it's probably not going to happen. We'll try, but yeah, definitely. There seems like tremendous opportunity all over the world. And at some point, we want to get into that. But I think there's just so much need in the US. And so US, we're going to doing a little bit in Canada, and everything's in Spanish, and so we're starting to get some traction outside of the South America and stuff there as well. But I think we're primarily focused, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, on the US.
In this journey in the HVAC world, plumbing, electrical, appliance, is anything struck you as surprising / amazing that you've run into?
I think maybe in HVAC, how the industry seems massive, and it is massive, right? There's like 400,000 HVAC techs, but it's also very small. When we first got in and we were brand new to the industry, this seems like this massive, massive, massive. But then you start talking to people, building relationships, you realize like a lot of people know each other. People are friends, people have worked together for years. We heard of an example where, which is like blew my mind. There was one company that was using us for their company, training them for HVAC. And they were at a coffee shop somewhere in like Michigan or something, talking about Skillcat to someone else. And then a third person at a nearby table overheard. They asked them about it, and then they reached out to us. It's like literally word of mouth, which is just crazy. You never expect that. And so I really like the industry. I think people are just really nice and warm and honest in a way that you don't always see in the tech world. I think there's a lot of fakeness sometimes in that world. So
I would agree with you. The honesty and warmth and the big, small world aspect of it just blows my mind too. So going back to the $10 a month fee, is that totally month by month? Like you can hop on, hop off?
yeah, right now, yes.
Wow.
We've thought about making it more annual, trying different things. But yeah, right now it's very easy and straightforward. So our goal to get people to stay on the platform longer is just building more content and supporting people in more ways. And so trying out a whole bunch of things along those lines right now.
I guess word of mouth, but is there word of app? Do you see people sharing it a lot, or is that happening on Reddit, or any feedback you get there?
Yeah, it's hard to measure. This is the thing. Attribution, I think you were saying this too. It's hard to attribute. Reddit, you see a lot of people talking about us. People post on social media a lot. People tell their friends. And there's some official sharing like through the app, but a lot of it happens in these informal channels. And we get a lot of companies also. So like a lot of the companies we work with reach out because the employees, the technicians were on the app and they told their boss, and then the boss reached out. So that happens a lot as well.
Seems like you're enjoying this.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're watching a video short, hopefully we make one of him smiling because he's got a great smile. Do you have anything you can share in terms of what's next?
I think the goal is really just to keep building. And so within the trades, there are just so many additional certifications we want to bring onto the platform. We're having conversations with a couple of big certification bodies about maybe bringing their exams and assessments onto the platform. We've talked to a couple other content providers about partnering together. And then we're just scaling our content production. So, hey, how do we build more value and anything people ask for and want? That's kind of on the content side. We're also exploring this whole section of the app where we build more real-time in the field support for technicians. So like troubleshooting flows that you can pull up on your phone and that walk you through step by step how to solve different problems and things like that. And then longer term, more community angle as well is how do you maybe not just like, I think we want to be another social network, but are there ways you can leverage cohorts? And you see a lot of that at like ACA when we went, like there's these great cohort groups for service managers or for owners, but you don't see them for technicians, for individuals who might be struggling, might be alone working on their own. There's a lot of potential to help support that group more.
Got it. Do you have any closing thoughts for our listeners here?
No, just keep learning, keep growing. Check out Skillcat. Check out TrueTech.
Thank you.
No, it's a pretty amazing job to be in the trades. I've started posting and writing about this all on LinkedIn. People are always shocked from the tech world. It's like, you can make probably more money in the trades. You don't have any debt. You are happier. People are so much happier. Like job satisfaction is way higher because outside, you're working with people every day. You get things done.
Challenges, new things come up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's so much growth here. So you're going to have a job forever. And I can almost guarantee there's going to be a correction at some point where everyone's salary is going to go up quite a bit in these industries as the shortage grows. So Thanks for welcoming me to the industry.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd be doing this?
I always liked education. So I've always been really passionate about teaching and teaching people things from like college. And so from high school, really, I've always been really passionate about that. And so I knew I'd be doing something related to that in some way. Did I know I'd be in HVAC? Absolutely not. But no, I'm really happy I'm here. And I see this as something I want to do for my whole life, stay and build this into a company that supports millions of users all over the world. I think sounds like a really meaningful life.
Absolutely.
I'm not going anywhere.
Good. Ruchir Shah, thank you for joining us on the Building HVAC Science Podcast. And listeners, please take a look at the links in the show notes. Get connected. Try this out. It's a really small lift just to try it out. I think you might get sucked in. Thanks, Ruchir.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. I also host the Res Talk podcast, RESTALK. You can learn more about the rapidly expanding world of home energy ratings and all the peripheral topics. If you have any questions or want to suggest a topic or just reach out, contact us at marketing@truetechtools.com. Some of the things we talk about require technical training for proper interpretation or safe execution. Hey, do you know of any technical training like online mobile? Now you do. But if you don't have that training, don't have those skills, don't have that experience, please consult with and hire a pro. The Building HVAC Science Podcast is a production of True Tech Tools Limited. In full disclosure, I'm the owner of True Tech Tools. The opinions voiced are those of my guests, my co-host, or myself, depending on who's speaking, of course. And if you're in the market for tools or test instruments that we mentioned and Ruchir kindly brought up, you can take a look at what True Tech Tools offers, TRUTECHTOOLS.com. And you can use the offer code HVACBS for a real nice discount. We have a lot of other great trade-related resources out there and influencers, and I plug them here, as many as I can think of. MeasureQuick, HVA Chicks, the Misfits of HVAC, HVAC Our School, HVAC Shop Talk, Stephen Reardon, HVAC Reefer Guy, Tool Pros, Service Business Mastery, Quality HVAC, HVAC Overtime, HVAC Our Videos, HomeDiagnosis.tv, AC Service Tech, and the HVAC Grapevine. Lots of great resources. Just type in those names that I rattled off there on the internet. I'm sure you'll find either podcasts, blogs, apps, or YouTube to learn more from all these great resources out there. But we want to thank you again for listening to this episode of the Building HVAC Science Podcast. Until next time, take good care.